XBee radios are a great way to add wireless power to any project. Now, they do require a little bit of initial configuring. You'll see that I have two of these SparkFun XBee Explorer boards. Only one is required, but having two just means I can work with them simultaneously. The first step is to install XCTU software so we can connect and configure them. As you can see, I'm running on Ubuntu, and it's a 64-bit computer, so I'll keep that in mind as I search for this software. A few years ago, Digi International did not distribute a Linux version of their XCTU software, and that made it very difficult for Linux users to get XBees working. But now it seems they've come out with an official Linux distribution. Okay, there we go. Linux x64. No thanks, I'll register later. Alright, here's our binary file. We'll save this, and as soon as this finishes downloading... Hey, it's done. Let's see what it's called. Well, that's odd. 4000 something. Alright. Oh, it's there. Let's see if we can run this guy. Nope, we're gonna have to make it executable first. So we'll do a chmod to give it executable permission. Cool. And now it is executable. Let's try it. Alright, we got a wizard. Agree. Well, I'm just gonna create a folder to put it in called apps. Alright. For whatever reason, the default folder was not writable. Alright, we're done. This is their README file. Wow, that's a bunch of stuff. It looks mostly like a change log, or changes that they made to the software from one version to the next. So I'm not going to take the time to read all of this. Okay, cool. So we've got the first XBee plugged in already, so we'll see if we can't go ahead and connect to it once the software loads up. Wow, okay. There's the changelog again. Fun. This does look a lot different since the last time I used XCTU. Click on Add Devices or Discover Devices. Okay, select the ports to be scanned. Set port parameters configured. Yeah, alright. 9600 baud rate. Could not find any device. Permission denied. Alright. So, I think what I'm going to have to do is add
my user to the dial out group, and that will give my user permission to use the USB ports. I want to do the dial out group. Oh boy. Let's add user. Somewhat confusing. Okay. Well, we'll see if it works. We might have to log in, log out, or even restart. Hopefully not. Well, I went ahead and restarted my laptop. So let's see what happens. Phew, I was getting worried. There they are. The first thing to do is to make sure that both radios have the same PAN ID and that their destination and source addresses are correct. We'll start with radio A. It'll take a few moments to download the parameters. Okay. Okay, so channel C and the PAN ID is 1000, and then we see that the destination address high byte is 0, the low byte is 1, and the source address is 0. So what we want is the destination address of radio A to match the source address of radio B, and we want the source, or we want the destination of B to match the source of A. So the way I have this set up is the source of A is 0, so the destination of B should be 0. If we click over to B, they should look the opposite. Give it a moment to load. So we see the PAN ID is still 1000, but this time the destination low byte is 0 and the source address is 1, which is the exact opposite of radio A. Cool, now we will head over to the console and test them out to see if they really are communicating. We have radio A and radio B. So go to, right now radio B is selected. Say connection with device is closed. Oh, open. Open. And if we head back over here, it's in red, which means that it received. I should be able to send a message back, and hi should be a red over here. Good. Cool. So we know that these devices are properly set up and communicating. Whatever you send through one device comes out the other, and vice versa. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. Or if you're still having issues, I'll be happy to answer any comments. Well, thanks for watching.